arguably the key to North Africa and the Mediterranean. Whoever controls Malta could very well decide the course of the greatest conflict ever seen. During this war for total world domination, Malta will face siege from hundreds of Axis aircraft and submarines, and Malta will gain infamy as the most bombed place anywhere on Earth.
It's June 1940. Malta is a small British outpost in the Mediterranean. The war is far from here, but that is to change. So on June 11th, 1940, fascist Italy joins the side of Nazi Germany. Malta, suddenly, is one of the most important places in the war, as it is in a prime position to disrupt Axis supply lines to North Africa. If these supplies can be cut, it will help the Allies win in North Africa.
One day after Italy declares war on Britain, Italian bombers soar over Malta. This will be the first of over 3,000 air raids Malta will endure during the course of the Second World War. Malta is protected by anti-aircraft guns and fitting of the beams. Italy is totally inefficient with its operations, and the gunners have a turkey shoot. The gunners have saved Malta. Meanwhile, in North Africa, the Italians are not faring much better, when in December they suffer mind-boggling defeats at the hands of a much smaller British force. To prevent total loss of Axis holdings in North Africa, Hitler dispatches famed General Erwin Rommel and forms the Africa Corps, and they bring with them a reckoning. As German troops arrive in North Africa in February 1941, so does the Luftwaffe over Malta. They launch from Sicily and are far more effective at hitting Malta. They're not here for long, however, as in May they are transferred to Europe in preparation for the largest invasion in history, the invasion of the USSR. This gives the Allies time to reinforce Malta with things such as planes, fuel, and ammunition. Malta is safe for now.
The Allies for the next few months were able to destroy roughly 80% of Axis shipping to North Africa. For the next few months, the people of Malta enjoyed a relative peace. This all changed in December of 1941, however, when the Luftwaffe returned to rain hell on Malta. Every day, hundreds of Axis bombers and fighters attacked Malta, launching from air bases in Sicily. The fighters protecting Malta are quickly overwhelmed, and Malta is essentially neutralized and flattened. With each day, the situation was getting worse. Between March and April alone, more bombs are dropped in Malta than all of London in the entirety of the Blitz. Help was urgently needed. So, on the 20th of April, Operation Calendar is launched. Its aim: get Allied aircraft to Malta to relieve pressure. The carrier USS Wasp launches 48 Spitfires, of which 47 reach Malta. But unfortunately for the British, they are all but ashes on the ground within the next 3 days. Malta is on its own. However, in mid-May, 60 Allied aircraft in Operation Bowery reach Malta, and bombing raids are less, but still many. Malta, at this point, was no longer a threat to Axis shipping. For example, Axis convoys sent 321,259 tons of shipping to Libya between January and April of 1942, of which only 18,777 did not make it through. This is a stunning success rate of 94%. It is now July 1942, and the situation for the Allies in North Africa is bad, and the undisturbed supply of war material to Africa certainly is not helping things. Multiple attempts at resupplying the island fortress are attempted in June. These all fall victim to the mighty Luftwaffe. Meanwhile, in North Africa, Axis forces are on the verge of taking Egypt, the Suez Canal, and vital Middle Eastern oil fields. If this happens, the Allies will suffer catastrophic results. It is essential to keep Malta in Allied hands, but it could be too late. By August, Malta is nearing collapse by the fearsome Axis naval and air blockade. They are but mere weeks from capitulation. Something must be done. The Allies assemble one of the most heavily defended convoys in human history. 14 merchant ships protected by 4 aircraft carriers, battleships, a dozen destroyers, submarines, torpedo boats. Codenamed Operation Pedestal, it is to be the Allies' last chance of holding Malta and possibly all of Africa, the Middle East and the Mediterranean. Its aim, relieve the island fortress of Malta no matter the cost in ships or lives. Between August 9th and 15th, the convoy faces relentless assault by submarines, bombers, fighters, torpedo boats. The Axis fail in stopping the convoy. On the 15th, the only 5 remaining merchant ships arrive in Valletta Grand Harbour. The cost in ships and lives is huge, but Malta is saved. Axis forces now suffered terrible losses at the hands of the island fortress. And in November 1942, Axis forces are decisively defeated in Egypt at the Second Battle of El Alamein. And with the commencement of Operation Torch, the Allied invasion of Vichy French North Africa, Axis forces were encircled at a continental level, and it was only a matter of time until Axis forces were pushed out of North Africa. The siege of Malta was over, and the invasion of Malta was never to happen.
This often overlooked battle, at least by many Western countries, helped determine the fate of the Second World War, and ultimately the fate of the world itself. Malta, in case you were wondering what happened after the siege of Malta was over, well, Malta soon turned to the offensive in December of 1942 and annihilated Axis shipping, destroying 230 Axis ships until the final surrender of Axis forces in North Africa in May of 1943, and would later be used for the invasion of Sicily in 1943. It is also worth noting the heroism of the Maltese people, who through it all never cracked and kept resisting no matter how grim things seemed. Thank you for watching my project. Good day.